So Revenge is a 1964 samurai film. It was directed by Tadashi Imai. And this is a film that was actually a blind buy for me. I was at this old record store in Princeton, and it's actually one of the remaining few places like it. And I just love old stores like this because it's like you're stepping back in time. You know, a simpler time when people would just go to the video store every week, just to find something they wanted to watch. And usually everyone at these stores would also love movies, and they would actually want to talk about them. And they also carry music too, so that's also nice, but they have a really big selection of movies, especially foreign films. And actually every time I go, I usually find something interesting. And that was like the case with Revenge. And I just remember I saw the cover of this film and immediately I was sold on it. Just a crazy looking samurai on this with the red blood just dripping down his face. He looks psycho. And I'll say this is a good representation of what this film gives you. Not every cover does the movie justice. So the story of Revenge follows the character of Shinpachi. He's a low-ranking samurai and he doesn't really have a motive. One day he gets into an argument with a high-ranking officer. This results in an illegal duel, and the officer ends up dying. To prevent more bloodshed, the judges declare that both of them were insane at the time of this duel. Shinpachi is then exiled to a local Buddhist temple, and he's branded as a madman. His girlfriend Ritsu wants to accompany him in running away, and this is also a plan supported by the abbot. But the slain samurai's brother Shumei wants to kill him. So the question is, should Shinpachi stay and do the honorable thing? Unfortunately, the situation goes from bad to worse. And this is just an environment where the system protects the strong clans and it punishes the weak, and the judgments always favor whatever will increase the fees for the government. And it's no wonder why Shinpachi begins to drift into insanity. So this film really just does a good job of exploring Bushido and just the way of the warrior. This was a code which governed samurai attitudes, but also behavior, lifestyle, and this also combined sincerity, loyalty, fighting skill, and honor until death. However, the film Revenge does something which is different, and I found it quite interesting. It exposes this code as a fraudulent system. A system in which was frequently abused by people for their own interests. And this is in a social order where the driving factors seem to be greed and saving face. And this is just a very tragic tale. It's almost painful to watch at times. We just see the hero of the story just get dragged more and more into trouble. And we really feel bad for him. And what's sad is that it would have been a better option for him to just lose the fight. It's a shame that sometimes having skill and talent will get you into more trouble. It's a world where a supposed moral code can deprive a decent human being of his status and identity and just drive him into insanity. And I'll say this film is very reminiscent of Masaki Kobayashi's Samurai Rebellion and even Harakiri. And actually this came out before Samurai Rebellion, so I find it kind of weird that this movie isn't praised more for what it was trying to tell. But actually it seems like this film is finally starting to get some recognition. And that's because they just released a new Blu-ray for it. And after rewatching this, I'm definitely gonna get it. Also, this film was scripted by Shinobu Hashimoto. And he scripted 2 films that are amongst my favorites. This is Seventh Samurai and Ikiru. and he did many others. But I will say that unlike Seven Samurai, this film is very low on the action. And they made the strange decision not to show the first fight in the film. And there's only 2 other fights in the film. I will say the final fight is top tier. It's definitely very memorable. And it's again reminiscent of the ending of Harakiri and even Samurai Rebellion. And actually even Sword of Doom too. It's definitely great stuff. But again, it was odd not to show that first duel. But even without having many fights or action, the film did still manage to impress me. And that's because it was telling a very good story right off the bat that had me invested. And this film was actually part of a subgenre I previously wasn't really aware of, and it's referred to as the cruel jidaigeki genre. And these are films that criticize the feudal system and the Bushido code. And it's usually told in very downbeat scenarios. And I should see more films by this guy because he apparently does have 2 other films that are like this. But I would be really surprised if they're as powerful as this one. And that's because revenge really doesn't say much nice about society. Though I will say that the film doesn't prevent you from having sympathy for its characters, even its bad ones. For example, the character of Shumei is a person whose thirst for revenge we can sort of understand, while Okumo's retainer is only performing his duty when he rigs a duel in a way that can only have one possible outcome. Of course, by now we can trust Hashimoto to just write characters who have a lot of dimension. Most of these characters are trapped in some way or another. As for the main character Shinpachi, maybe it's his self-respect that lets him down the most. Just a lot of attention to detail is displayed in this film. And I like how instead of being stylized, the fights are messy. And just because of their chaotic nature, they come across as being more so realistic. It's also pretty amazing just how much tension that the director is able to create from a screenplay which is mostly consisted of dialogue. The lead actor in the film, Kinosuke Nakamura, his performance becomes more and more affecting and convincing. And one of my favorite scenes is with him outside where he's training for a fight. And there's a great shot of a storm in the background. And it's really just a striking shot. And we see him fail to properly cut in half a bamboo shoot. And then we see it fall on him. And I like to believe that this is depicting just the pointlessness of what this character is doing. Him just being a single person going against this all-powerful system. You know, he really doesn't stand a chance. Even though he is a great swordsman, he has a lot of skill and strength. It really is just tragic. Also, we have the outstanding Tetsuro Tamba, and he plays Shumei in this. And he just does an excellent job like always. And it's just amazing how many films this guy is in. Anyway, I recommend Revenge to every lover of samurai cinema. It is slow at times, and it's very dialogue heavy, but it's a film that provokes the right kind of anger just as it hammers home its main theme. And it does so in a very intelligent way. Most codes of honor are probably in essence good, but they're also easy to abuse. And, you know, maybe society needs people to know their place in order to function properly. This is just a film that causes the viewer to really think as much as it causes the viewer to feel sad and angry. I also just love its dark atmosphere, And it's just a great depiction of a man being driven into insanity by this corrupt system. Yeah, that's always a great story. And this also has one of the best final acts and fights in any samurai film, so definitely check it out for that. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching.